track today. Or maybe it'll just help you recalibrate, to take your mind off all the stress that's going on around you. Come on, you ready? Let's go.
Living out loud, living out loud. Loving out loud, loving out loud. Laughing out loud, laughing out loud. I want the world to know that I'm blessed. Hey, oh, hey, yeah, hey, oh, hey.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thurston O'Neill here. Thank you guys for joining us once again here on the Brothers Like Us radio show on Living Out Loud Radio TV. Thank you guys for your support, for checking us out every week, coming to join the conversation. We always have interesting conversations here, and I think today is going to be another very, very interesting one. I know a few of the brothers are busy. They may come a little late. So if I have to sit here and talk a little bit and conversate with you guys, that's cool. Just let me go over here. So ask you guys just to join the conversation. Leave your comments. So wherever you're following us, you may be on my regular Facebook page. If you're on my regular Facebook page, that's Thurston Daniel O'Neill, I will ask you to go over to the LOL Radio TV Facebook group page. And if you're watching from there, you could watch the same exact live stream. But when you're watching from there, all of your comments, I can share on screen. I can reply to you. I can share whatever you've said, and we can interact that way. That's on the Facebook group page, which is LOL Radio TV. You see it there on your screen. And then you could also follow us live on YouTube, same exact live stream on YouTube. That's Living Out Loud Radio on the YouTube channel. And you could follow us there, and any comments you leave there, we can also share. If you're watching from my regular page, of course, I'm watching it here. I can see any comments that you leave, but I will not be able to share your comments on screen. And I think today is going to be a really good one. So I don't know if Black Ivor is watching, but he had a really, really interesting post last week. I love interacting with him and getting feedback from everybody on his page as well. But he was talking about the Kyrie situation, but we wanted to continue our conversation from last week. We were talking about cancel culture, and it sort of took us down a rabbit hole to a few things, but we want to come back and discuss cancel culture again. What exactly is cancel culture? When did it start? Where did it come from? How do you guys feel about it? Do you feel it's right? Do you feel it's wrong? Does it matter the situation around whatever's going on? How do you guys feel about cancel culture? I am very, very interested to know and get into this conversation. And then, of course, the other big, huge thing that sort of touches on the Kyrie thing is the vax slash anti-vax debate. A lot of people have a lot of very, very strong opinions regarding vaccination and should you get vaccinated? Should you not get vaccinated? How you feel about it, and how we feel about each other. I think that's the biggest issue, is how we feel about or interact or respect one another, regardless of if you've taken the vaccine or if you have not taken the vaccine and you choose not to. How do we interact with one another? How do we still respect one another? Some people feel like, they don't want to take it and they don't want to be forced. Listen, I am not huge on mandates. I don't necessarily like the word overall, somebody mandating us to do something. But that being said, I felt the vaccine was very important for me, for my household, for my children. It was important for me beyond work situation. And what I must say is, on my regular 9 to 5, they there were they just they were able to navigate this entire COVID and vaccine issue. When the vaccine finally came, they were able to navigate it really, really well. I must give them kudos for that. That they gave us the ability to continue to do effective work um, from home when COVID was at its height. And even when it was time to come back into the office, giving that latitude that we needed to still be able to do our job and to still be able to keep ourselves safe. So, that being said, I never felt pressured to get the vaccine to keep my job. So, I don't know what a lot of other people are going through, feeling that pressure to um, have to get the vaccine just to keep your paycheck. And now, that's some people that may be the only income in the household. And they feel strongly that they do not want to get the vaccine. And then the question comes up, well, why don't you want to get the vaccine? And those that have gotten the vax, that are for the vax and are against the anti-vaxxers, they ask the question, well, what is your reasoning for not wanting to get it? I personally feel like um, nobody owes me an explanation of why they don't want to get it. That is their personal choice. Now, there are consequences. Clearly, there are consequences to not getting it. Do I think all of those consequences are fair? No, absolutely not. But the reality is, there are consequences to not getting it, or there are other requirements to not getting the vaccine, and you will have to deal with uh, those situations. Hey Tim, how you doing, man? Great, thanks for stopping in, man. I would love your input, your thoughts on this whole vax anti-vax situation. If I remember correctly, now you may be retired. If I remember correctly, you were in the healthcare field or mental health care field, and I wonder if you were mandated or if you were forced to get the vaccine. So yeah, that's what we're discussing today. And I think it's a very interesting topic. I think it's important for us to talk about it. And that's why I wanted to bring it to the show and to the guys, especially because they really do have, we normally have a lot of differing opinions on things, but the way that we discuss it, I think, is sort of a model for what we'd like to see in society overall. I mean, we're respectful of one another. We are open to learn new things and hear new ideas. Um, and we never get to the point where we just want to shut somebody down or cut them off or not hear what they have to say, because I do have very intelligent and opinionated guys that joins me on the show. So um uh yeah, here's one of them right here. He's the one that started the whole thing. Randy, what's going on, baby?
Hey man, how you doing?
I'm doing wonderful, bro. How you doing?
A little tired, but I'm doing well, man.
Cool, cool, cool. It's good to see you. Good to see you. So we're continuing this conversation, the cancel culture,
Yeah,
the conversation you started last week. um,
you asked the question, man. I'm,
yo, got us started on this conversation, man, and now we're going back. So, Tim Howard, my boy, my co-lead for the War Cry song, Tim. Ooh. It's good to see you, bro. Great to see you, man. We haven't sang that song in quite a while. So I was asking Tim about if he was in the medical field. Let's see. Yes, I'm still. Let me actually share it. And again, those that are watching, if you want your comments or anything shared on the screen, please, please, please go to the LOL Radio Facebook page or the YouTube page. Tim is sharing it from Facebook. He said, yes, I'm still in the medical field. I'm now here in Florida, and folks are still dying from this virus. You're absolutely right, Tim. I mean, they may not be dying at the rate that they were at the height of COVID, but people are still passing away, man. So, and listen, I share my story about getting vaccinated freely. I want people to know that I'm vaccinated. Um, some people take offense to that. Some people, I know when I think it was Chris Rock that came out and said, "Listen, get the vaccine," and people came for him like, you working for the man, and you like. I don't get it, man. I don't understand. I really don't. Randy, I mean, we've talked about it before. I know you got the vaccine already. You're vaccinated, but how do you feel about the vax and anti-vax sort of debate? Like, do you think
Listen, man,
it's necessary?
I think that it's in a way it's foolishness
Okay.
because I come to learn that people gonna do what they want to do,
Right.
and if it benefits them.
Right.
So if this vaccine benefits them, then they'll take it.
Right.
Like case in point, a friend, coworker that I work with, his son girlfriend is not vaccinated.
Okay.
He was fighting it at first because he was trying to go along with her.
Okay.
Wouldn't go do it. But his parents, his father, and his father's fiance kept putting the pressure on him. If you go out the house and you stay any time, you must go have a test done.
Wow.
Before you come back, because they had 2 small kids.
Okay.
And she had the virus, and she had it really bad. So where they thought that she was gonna die. So she's like, I'm not going back down that road, and I'm not subjecting your little brothers and sisters who is like 6 and 5.
Wow.
Father had it. He had it like for one day or something like that, but she really had it bad. So he went on and got it. But now this is the crazy thing. They were supposed to go on a cruise. The family is going. He was going to go on a cruise with his girlfriend. He'd never been. But now the cruise is next month. So they can't go because she refused to get vaccinated.
Wow. So and if she can't go, the son is choosing not to go.
Because he's in a dilemma. The truth is, she got him wrapped around his finger. No. She's young. Now, I'm telling you, she's young, man. She's like in her early 20s.
Oh, and okay.
But she's a vegan. So she's like, y'all shouldn't be eating all that meat. You're putting all that poison in your body. Da 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 da. But she drank like a fish.
Wow.
She drank alcohol. This is what I'm saying. The mindset of these people. See, you won't do one thing, but you will do another thing that can still kill you.
Oh man.
So she jumps up and she's decided that she's not going to do it. Now he's in dilemma because he really wants to go on this cruise, but he's not going to want to go because of her. And so, but this is the thing, person. This girl travels. She likes to travel. That's what she wants to do.
Okay.
So she's been several places. She been to Greece twice.
Okay.
No. She been to Greece for 2 weeks, unvaccinated, hanging around with people that she didn't know in Greece. No mask, no nothing, partying, drinking, all this kind of stuff. But now they come back, so she wants to go to Kenya, Africa. In order to go to Africa, you have to have shots.
Okay. So wait, so she does a lot of traveling. If she does a lot of traveling, especially out of country, I'm assuming she like takes the test before and has to take the test before she comes back and then quarantine or whatever.
Yeah.
So you're saying to go to Africa though, they're saying you gotta have the vaccine, no test.
Not vaccine. Regardless, you gotta take shots. If there was no pandemic,
I got you.
You have to take shots.
Right.
To go to Africa. That's automatic. Anybody that's going. But because she wants to go to Kenya, I'll take those shots.
Wow.
So she don't know what they put in her body, but because I want to go to Africa, I'm gonna take the shots. And this is where I say that people are like, it's like I know people that say, listen, I'm not opposed to taking the shot. I just don't want it right now. But if it comes down to it that I have to take it, I'll take it. I just don't want to do it because some people that's how they live their life. They don't take flu shots. They don't like to take a lot of medicines. They believe in all that health stuff and they do this stuff. So that's how they live their life. So this is why some people saying, I don't want to take the shots because this is what they are into. But then you just have some people like saying, listen, I'm not taking it, because of whatever the reason is. But if I need to take it because I want to go do something, then I'll take it.
It's such a tricky, it's such a delicate, I should say, not tricky. It's such a delicate situation and even conversation because, listen, when it first came out that there was a vaccine on the way, I wasn't rushing to get the vaccine.
Nobody was.
Right. I wasn't rushing.
Whoa, Randy.
So wait. Alan, don't come over here starting trouble first thing.
I'm just saying, he said nobody was.
Well, what I'm saying
I was waiting for my turn. I was like, why the old people got to go first?
No. Well, the bottom line is, let's put it this way. A lot of us was not running to go get it done. Let me put it that way. A lot of us was not going to rush to go get that shot done because of history, so we wasn't going to go do it. That's the whole point. That's the point.
And that's so. My thing was not necessarily because of the history. I'm generally in good health. I don't have underlying conditions and so forth. So I wasn't rushing to get it, and I was really diligent. And I have to give Erica credit for this. We were diligent about keeping ourselves safe. So we were able to work from home. We were blessed to have jobs that allowed us to work from home. We kept the girls safe. So the girls were not going out to school every day. They did virtual. Now, this is last year in the midst of everything. When the vaccine came, we didn't rush to go get it. And not for any specific reason, right? And that's why even this conversation we're having, if she chooses not to get it from me, she doesn't even have to have a good, valid reason for not wanting to get it. You can just feel like you don't want to get it. I understand. But there are consequences to not getting it because of how, the culture's moving. So if you're willing to deal with the consequences, just like we talked about Kyrie Irving, and, if he's willing to forego all that money and stand on principle that I don't want to do it because I don't want to do it, that's up to him. He has to pay those costs.
Exactly. And people, the thing that bothered me about the whole Kyrie Irving is all the chatter people's talking about this guy.
Right.
So all the sportscasters, I know it's their job and all this kind of stuff. But listen, this is this man's personal business. And if he's willing to say, listen, this is what it is, I don't want to do it, then everybody should just back off. Right. It's not everybody, everybody got something to say about everything that somebody does. And it only affects him. And if he don't want to take it for whatever his reason is,
right.
Because it ain't about money.
It's not about money. I mean, listen.
It's not about money. So whatever his reason is, and when he decides to take it, then he decides to take it. Because what people will start saying, if he decides to take it, or he's missing that money, or he's feeling that money, he's not. He's already rich. So
he's rich enough to live out the rest of his life and not.
So I mean, unless he does something really stupid. Right. Where now you lose all that money,
right?
But other than that, I think that people should just back off.
Yeah,
I mean the Mets. I mean, I think the Nets did the right thing.
Right.
Move on without him.
Right.
I think that's this is the team. We're gonna move on without him, and we're gonna play.
Right.
And that's it. They had no other choice. But they should allow him to do what they was planning on doing, allowing him to practice and all that. No. If you're not going to take it, these are the rules. This is what you got to do.
And that's the unfortunate thing. He wouldn't have been able to practice in New York, right? Because it's New York that has the mandate, not necessarily the NBA, right?
No, And well, right, that's basing it. But see, but this is the tricky thing about it. See, he could not play in New York, and he could not play in San Francisco,
Okay.
where the Warriors play at. But the problem that people was having is that the Warriors, even if you were not vaccinated, can come here and play.
Oh, really?
That's yeah.
So wait, you can not be vaccinated and come into New York and play the game, but
Mm-hmm.
if you are on a New York team, you
Right.
have to be vaccinated.
Right.
See, I didn't even realize that. Okay, Alan, I kept you on hold long enough, man. How you doing today, bro?
I'm all right. I'm all right. You
Good,
know,
good,
lazy day Sunday. Just was watching a little bit of football. I cannot lie. I was a little late because of the game. A
Oh, I
little
hear
pissed
you, bro.
about that.
I got the game on right now. I'm looking at the game right here.
All right, so I don't feel so bad.
No,
Brother
don't feel
Tim,
bad at all.
Brother Tim, we see you out there. When we look at historical events of viruses, the reasons why so many people die is because of germs. Vaccines were discovered and they assisted in killing germs. A virus is a gem. All right. But you know, I really haven't followed the whole Kyrie Irving thing.
Okay.
Really don't have much to say about that. As far as vaccinated, not vaccinated, you know, I think, as I've stated before, God gives us all a choice. You know, I'm a man. I can't supersede God's edict. So you have a choice. You could choose to live or die. that's part of the choice. You know, you could choose to have restraint or, you know, while out, steal, not steal, etc. My only thing is anybody who got a vaccination for a trip, like you mentioned, Kenya, you know, school, who doesn't want to take this vaccination? I'm like, listen, if that's your excuse, that's a poor excuse, you know, because you've already got. I mean, all of us, you know, back in the day had the little shot up here.
Yep.
You know, we got them all, our vaccination, inoculations, whatever. And you know, I just think that we argue about the things that really don't matter. We just argue about the things that don't matter, that don't really have significance. People want to take stands on things because they want it, not because it's a need. You know, I need to do this, this, and this. You know, that's all I have to say about it.
No, I got you. I got you. And so the interesting thing about this whole situation is it really is getting to a point where it is pitting one side against the other, right? Everyone is trying to make their points. And it really does get to a point where there's name calling and there's, you know, you're just an idiot, you're just stupid, you need a better reason than that. And it goes on both sides because the people that are anti-vaxxers are like, y'all are crazy, y'all are just like cheap, they're using y'all, and you're just guinea pigs and so forth. And then the ones on the vaccine side are like, y'all are crazy because y'all don't really have a good reason for not getting it. And I don't think a lot of people actually, like most times, we don't necessarily listen to the other side. We do a lot of talking because we have our point and we want to make our point, but we don't necessarily listen to the other side to say, all right, this is what you believe. I respect that. I respect you, and I respect your right to do it or not do it, whatever your reasoning is. And of course, I have personal feelings about reasoning and if their reasoning is valid or not. But the bottom line for me is I make a choice for me because I don't want anyone to come in my house and tell me you have to do this or that. I think we've worked really hard. We have lived relatively good lives, done what we've needed to do. We are respectful of our family. We're respectful of our community, and we have the right to make certain choices on our own. And when it doesn't line up with the other side's views, I just don't feel they have a right to. They have a right to have an opinion, and some may even say to judge. You can judge in your own right, but when it starts to affect me or my family, then that's when it's problematic. You know what I mean?
Right, but you know, let me just say this. You know, I scoffed at when Randy said, you know, people weren't lined up right away to get the vaccine. I wasn't lined up right away to get the vaccine, but I had told my wife in about December of last year, I stated, listen, by like May, I'm getting this vaccine.
Gotcha.
And the reason I had said May was because I knew enough people would have gotten the vaccine by then that they'd see any adverse reactions and they could, you know, maybe shift stuff or whatever. But I got mine in March. Why? Because by March, like 60 million people had already gotten it.
Right.
Now, you know, there comes a point in time where you have conspiracy theorists saying, oh, they're trying to kill black people, they're trying to get rid of the brown people, or this is the new purge. I heard all kinds of stuff. You know, they're trying to get rid of the poor and the old
They're never
people.
going to try to get rid of the poor because they need people to work.
Right. But
They're not going to kill the poor.
But my thing is this. So by May, like half the country had taken the vaccination.
Uh-huh.
So I'm like, okay, so they're doing this and they're trying to kill off the blacks, the poor, the brown, the old people, and half the population took it. Listen, I don't know if half die. I don't know what half is going to be left. But my bet is I probably wouldn't want to be with those half anyway. So Lord, just I'm ready, you know. But you know, I say that in jest, but I'm going to say something that you know I've touched on a bit before, which is very controversial, and you know, it really puts us into a larger problem. My fundamental belief is that we as people need people to tell us what to do. Because if you think about it, the Bible says we're like sheep. Sheep will go astray, they'll get lost, they got to be smacked to stay in the road, stay to the left, stay to the left. The shepherd has to, you know, get a dog to protect them from wolves and stuff like that. They don't follow, they don't heed warnings, etc. And you know, the Bible, interestingly enough, doesn't say, I want you to be as innocent as sheep. Nah, it says as doves. Why does it change all of a sudden from sheep to doves? You don't really hear about no doves until it starts talking about that, right? But wise as serpents. Because, you know, and I gave this analogy to somebody else years ago. You know, we have the right to say whatever we want. First Amendment gives us the right to say whatever we want. But if I yell and say, I'm going to kill you, oh, that's a threat. Can't say that.
Right,
you know?
right.
I'm in a movie theater. I yell fire. Can't say that. So we have a sort of balance in that. Wait, you could say whatever you want. Yeah, but not this.
But not that.
Not
right.
here. Not there. Right? So we have to make those small caveats to sort of line up the people because they'll take it to the extreme. Oh, you could carry a firearm, right? Well, some people have AK-47s, some people have missile launchers. Bruh, what are you protecting yourself from?
Right.
You know, handgun, shotgun, okay. You know, AK-47, AR-15, you know, you're starting a war. That's not protection. That's A war is going on. You are ready for something. And
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Alan. Finish.
no,
finish.
I was just going to say this, that, where are people that loves to say, oh, don't tell me what to do. I can govern myself. But we've actually shown throughout history, throughout some friends, some family, we actually can't govern ourselves. If we could, most of us wouldn't be financially strapped as we are.
Look, I was about to say, Alan, I know this guy named Thurston O'Neill that's had trouble governing himself on many occasions.
Right.
So it's not.
Me too.
You're right. You're absolutely right. We at times we need help governing ourselves, but I think it's our belief and our understanding that we are given free will, and we live in a place where we're supposed to have the ability to choose for ourselves. Even though if we look at history and we look at the way things have always been rolled out, we've sort of been guided into certain decisions and stuff like that all along. I mean, that's just a part of the society that we live in. Go ahead, Randy.
But on that Spike Lee documentary that he has out, he interviewed, the sister that was a part of developing the vaccine.
Okay.
All right. She's a black doctor.
Wait, which documentary is this, Randy?
He has one that was called the Epidemic 9/11.
Okay.
It's a new one. It's about 8 hours long.
Okay.
So he got it broken up in 4. And it's a really good documentary, man. I mean, if you check it out, he's interviewing everybody.
Okay.
So, and he talks about what happened in January 6th.
Okay. Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. And he talks to all the congressmen and the women that was there. I'm telling you, it's crazy. So anyway, this was a black sister, doctor, that helped develop the vaccine. She said that, everybody was complaining, I don't want to be a guinea pig. She said that we had already tested over 40,000 people.
Wow.
Before it was even launched out. Because they're not just going to come develop it. A lot of people was worried because it came out so fast.
So fast, right.
Usually it takes about 2 years, 2.5 years, they say, to develop. This came out less than a year or so, or about a year. She said, but we already had tested over 40,000 people before we even decided to launch it. Because, listen, the worst thing you can do is give a vaccine and then everybody start dying off of it.
Right.
On top of all that's going on.
Right.
So this is what the thing is. So a lot of people had this in mind, I'm not going to be no guinea pig, and, I'm not going to do this and I'll do that. But, in order to come back to, like I said, I just look at some of these people that I don't care what it is. You're going to have people that's anti something.
Right.
People are going to complain about something. I remember one time Crayola, the crayon people, was going to retire, so to speak, some of their colors. And a group of parents got together to now start a march against Crayola.
Wow.
Over crayons. Now, here they got thousands of colors.
And I'm sure there's another color that's really close to those other colors. Right.
That's going to match it. But because I'm like, nah. But this is what it is. It's like a person could take the Bible, read a scripture, and start a whole movement from it.
Absolutely.
And you'll get somebody that would join in with what you say.
Absolutely. You could start an entire movement, bro. Absolutely.
For stuff. And this is where this is the mindset of people that they're going to be anti this. I'm going to be anti that. I don't want to do this. You're not going to make me do this. I'm not going to make me do this, because it all comes down, again, I want to say, stemming from this new cancel culture.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
because this is where it all stems from. Because when we get into that, I'm gonna tell you my view of what I really, really believe, where it
Uh-huh.
started,
Okay.
and
Okay.
how it's just kept on moving slowly till we now became this me person. I'm gonna do me, and I don't want nobody
To tell
telling me
me.
that I can't do it. I don't want God to tell me. I don't want you to tell me. I don't want nobody to tell me what I can't do. I can do whatever I want. So in other words, it's almost like I'm gonna be my own God.
Yep. Listen, you're absolutely right. So we're definitely going to come back to this because I think the whole vax and anti-vax, I think cancel culture and this vax anti-vax conversation is very closely aligned, especially because of the division and how we go at each other from both sides. Alan, you had lifted your hand. You had wanted to chime in, right? You're muted. I think you muted yourself.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
that's the technologist. Always
Yes,
muting
yes,
myself.
yes.
The thing is, when I say uh, we can't really govern ourselves, that's one side. But what I was also saying is the other side of the coin is that what's the alternative? We have to govern ourselves. So there's a duality there, and that's basically I think what Randy was touching on too. People just want the ability to govern themselves. But see, the thing is like this: when you governing yourself affects me, we got a problem. You don't want to take a vaccine, that's fine, right? You don't want to wear a mask, that's fine. Once you start going into stores, and we've seen videos of this, people coughing on everything, coughing on food on purpose. I'm like, okay, all right, you
Then you're
want to take
threatening me. I mean,
Right.
then you're really threatening my well-being and my
right.
safety, and that is where
We got a problem.
yep, that's a problem.
We got a problem.
Absolutely. Hold on one second here. Ernesto, how you doing, bro?
Well, how you doing?
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Glad to see you. Always glad to see you, bro. Glad you're able to join us. I don't know how much you've heard about what we're talking about,
All of
but
it.
good, good, good. So, what are your thoughts, man? This vax and anti-vax thing, and I don't know if you know anything about the Kyrie situation, but
I
if
do.
you have something you want to share on that, yeah, go ahead, share with us, man.
No, I don't have much to say.
Okay, cool.
Because I agree with pretty much as far as the Kyrie situation. I pretty much have the unfortunately I have the same thoughts that you do, which is look, the man has the right to not get vaccinated.
Right,
He has to, as you said, he has to deal with the consequences of that. He
right,
said as much. I mean, he said that he's blessed to not have to think about, you know, what's his future as far as way of living,
right.
is concerned. But and I have to take the view of his teammates, which Kevin Durant said it very well. Kai's gonna do what Kai's gonna do, and we have to respect his decision.
Excellent,
You
excellent.
know, and as I think, and also I think, Randy, I think I would like to hear your friend's son's version. I don't know. I think that what you're saying is that sounds like his parents' version of the story.
No, I mean, the thing is, look, I know the kid well.
Right.
Oh, okay.
I know him well. Me and his father have worked over like 30 years.
Hmm.
You know, and I know him well. I know when he was born, he grew up, stuff like that. And so he has this girlfriend, and she's not a bad looking good kid, but the father no, she's not. She's not.
Okay.
Speaks with very well. So she does the video blogs, and they's mad like because he been on trips with her, and he's holding the camera, taking videos, and she's taking shots, and she's got guys all around her and stuff like that. And so he's saying, man, what dude gonna let some guy be rolling up on his woman and all this kind? So his father is hot. His father won't speak to him because his father will go from 0 to 10 like that on him. So they had a big fall, and now because they can hear her talking in his head because they know, like if it's Jada, you and Erica, now all of a sudden Jada meet this guy. Now this guy is influencing Jada, and
she's talking different. It's a different conversations.
Right. This is not Jada. This is this dude. Right. Right. So and so nothing that you can say, nothing that Erica could say can reach her. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna get upset. So you're gonna be like, listen, I wash my hands of it. I ain't got nothing to say, like that. And whatever happens. So that's the whole thing. So I've seen some of the video blogs, and I told the father, I said, well, you know what, man, she's very pretty. I said that she speaks well. I said that she's a little bit out there as far as being wild. But her thinking is just like she's like immature in a lot of stuff. Okay. And because Brendan is the kid's name. So he's like he was always shy, didn't have a lot of confidence in himself. So now you get this girl that's pretty. So everything is like, this is my girl. This is I met her personally and stuff like that. And so, but to hear the stories that he'd be telling, his father be telling me, about what they be trying to get him to do, try to get him to understand because they know him. They always took family trips together. So now all of a sudden, you don't want to go with the family anymore because she don't want to go. Yeah, they were supposed to be going on a Disney cruise. So she's like, hold it. There going to be children on the trip? They like, it's Disney. They're going on a Disney cruise.
Like, of course it's going to be.
I mean, there's stuff for the children to do, but it's called Disney cruise. And so they wind up not going.
Wow.
And he really wanted to go. And so this is the type of stuff where, they're saying that, I'm not going to get the vaccine. She's not going to get the vaccine because you're putting poison in my body, but she drink like a fish, constantly drinking. But then you turn around and we're going to Africa and you book an Africa trip to go to Kenya and you can ask anybody, ask Cassandra, a stewardess, anybody. You go to Africa, you have to have shots. Right. I'm not talking about the vaccine. Before there was a vaccine, you had to have at least 2 to 3 shots they give you to go to Africa. But she had no problem taking that shot, but she's not going to take the vaccine. And this is where I'm saying the mindset of some of these people of how they think. If it's something that I want to do badly, I'll take the shot.
So Randy, in her blogs or her podcasts, does she give a specific is it just I don't want to put poison in my body? That's her basic thing.
That's her thing. Like she's vegan, so she'll go against people that eat meat. Or you eat and you put in all that poison and all this and all that. So Brendan, his father, he's gonna be like, hold up. You're gonna get mad at me because I'm eating a burger, but you drinking. And you constantly drinking.
And did his son start trying to be vegan as well, or stop eating meat and all that stuff?
No, he didn't. But the thing is, right away, when you come at her, he's offended.
Of course. Listen, we're all men, right?
It is.
And we all, I don't think any of us are so old that we don't remember that sort of time frame in our lives. And we know that a good-looking woman can have a huge effect on us. Now,
but not only that, though, the thing is this. I remember, like, your mother knows. A mother knows.
Uh-huh.
There's just certain things. But if you really hooked on this woman and your mother like getting this bad vibe, your mother like I don't like her.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
you're like, oh, mom, you just don't like her, man.
Yep.
She's a nice girl. You go right away, start to offend, be on
Right.
her side.
Absolutely.
You don't want to hear your mother. You don't want to hear this. You'd rather not bring her around, all this kind of stuff, because you don't want to hear what people got to say.
Nope.
And that's what it is, because you are hooked on them. That's
And
what it is.
listen, uh, she's able to do and say and make you feel ways that mommy can't make you feel. That is the reality, guys. This is the reality of our lives, of us being men, and I should say young boys. When we're young, this is a part of what we have to deal with, and that's why he may run to defend her at all costs. It's just certain things that she makes me feel a certain way, and I want to feel that way again when I see her next time. So I'm going to defend her. Yes. I'm not throwing her away, dude. She can knock backs all she wants.
Because they had a thing like on the cruise. You go up on a cruise, they have what they call a drinking package.
Right.
Now the drinking package can run you some money.
Right.
But the thing is, not one person in the room got to pay the price. Whoever's in that room, everybody got to pay that price.
Oh, wow.
It ain't just like if you the only one to drink and you pay $400. No, Erica got to pay, so it's $800. That's how it runs. You get the drinking package. So she wanted the drinking package. So, and he wanted this key that they offer on the cruise that give you first access to everything. You're the first on board. You don't have to wait on. You get all these amenities and stuff like that when you have the key. So he's saying, "Yeah, I'd like to get the key," and they saw her give him a look, and he backed back.
Listen, young brother, I feel you, man. Young brother.
So they up and on, but recently they did have a good conversation. And they try to talk, but they don't really bring her up too much because he still try to knock it down. But he's trying to get back into good grace and stuff like that. They did have a good conversation, but it's like I said, it's just the mindset of how these people think, or not say just these people, but just how people think. That whatever they want to do, people are going to do it. If I don't like it, I don't like it. If I don't want to go that way, I'm not going to go that way. And you can't make me. I know this girl who knew someone that had passed the sanitation test. He was in, because now sanitation says in order for you to become a part of the unit, you have to be vaccinated and have at least one vaccine.
Okay, at least the first shot, right?
Right. So, and there was this guy that said, listen, he didn't take the job because he didn't want to be vaccinated.
Wow.
So he turned the job down. So there's some people, like I said, that has lived their life this way, where they like into this health thing, and they don't believe in taking on, so they're not going to take it. Unless, and you even have people who threaten to leave New York City and move out of the state because they didn't take the vaccine.
So I know someone actually who is moving to Florida. The husband already is down there getting everything ready, and they're taking their whole family down there.
Tim's comments are killing me. I'm sorry.
I know.
Yeah. I see it too.
So go ahead, Ernesto. I'm sorry.
No. I know a family that is leaving because of that. Their children have I don't know if it's their children have some medical issues.
Okay.
But they regardless they don't want to take it.
So
And they
So
feel
now I'm
like
gonna,
New York is going towards a slippery slope
and they're
of
actually
losing
moving their family out.
100%.
Wow.
They're probably definitely before January they're out.
Okay, so now
And
let me
uh-huh.
flip this. Let me flip this real quick because I think all of you guys will recognize this. You remember Pastor spoke the message. I think it was convenience versus conviction,
Right.
right?
Yep.
So these people are convicted. I mean, we're sort of like coming at them, but they're sticking to their convictions. I know it's not, we're not talking about religion, but they're sticking to their conviction. Do they get kudos for sticking to their convictions? I mean, this family is going hard, like to move out of state. And people that will say, I'd rather not take the job or I'll walk away from this job before I do it, they're sticking to their convictions. Do they get any type of grace, at least for that?
I mean,
Well,
sticking to me, sticking with your conviction is great, but you moving to a place where it's one of the hot spots for the for the virus,
Right,
which is Florida. You have more chances of surviving here.
right, right.
You
Right.
Well,
have-
I think for them, I think it's more than just survival. I think it's just really also part of it is political. I think that
Okay.
they are against a lot of the policies that New York City and other what's the word, left leaning
Uh-huh.
places go. Um, so I mean, I just think that it's fine. They have a right to do so. I mean,
yeah,
like I take for Jan, my wife recently got the vaccine.
Right, right.
But because she was forced to.
She didn't want to. She
Absolutely
needed,
100%, 1000% not.
man.
And literally waited to the 11th hour before because she had to, and it was a real she thought long and hard, but because the choice was I leave where a job that I love, that I also think it's a call,
Mm, man.
versus and then on top of that you have health issues. She had health concerns,
Right, right.
and we did a lot of research, but it didn't necessarily there was necessarily anything that said people with this reacts this way.
Okay.
In fact, I'll tell you how interesting it was. She told me that when she got the shot, because she got a doctor's note, and
So that was going to be my question. Um,
the doctor literally wrote, I do not recommend my patient receiving the shot because we really don't know how she will respond.
and that was not enough for an exemption for her. Wow.
DOE.
nope.
right,
Wow.
but
DOE.
you know,
So the thing is, so then when she went to get it, and she explained to the nurse who was going to give her the shot, the nurse then had to call her supervisor, and then her supervisor had to sit down and basically told Jan, like, hey, look, you know that if you decide to take it, you're doing this on your own
volition.
cognizant, even though she's being forced to do it.
Right, right, right.
And so because they had to do uh you know BYB, right? I mean
Uh-huh.
CYB. So really that really kind of was insult to injury in a way,
Yep.
that she had to go through that process. And I think that for the most part, and I think there's a lot of people that way. And I told her about a topic today you know. So she told me to tell what she think about it, and she says, quote, "It's a bunch of BS." So she said, and tell them that's exactly how I feel. So there, I did. I did my.
You have passed on the message. I love it. I
I
love it.
have
I love it.
passed on. I passed on the message.
So that is a part of the thing that I think just rubs people the wrong way, man. And I think, listen, um, I think even I just think that's the main thing that rubs people the wrong way. You're forcing me. I mean, in essence, they're not forcing you. They're giving you a choice, and they're basically saying, okay, in order for you to work here, you have to get this. We're not forcing you to get it, but if you don't get it, you can't work here. And then you have a choice to make. And that's a horrible position to put people in. And then my thought goes back to, and again, I have to keep saying this because I don't want anyone that's listening to get the wrong idea. And I won't even say I'm playing devil's advocate because I would never advocate for the devil. But what I'm saying is this:
That's right.
think back to when we're at the height of this thing and essential workers had to leave their homes and their families and their elderly parents that were very susceptible to catching something, or their young children, and they would have to go in, work 8, 16 hours, come home, basically strip their clothes at the door so they don't bring anything into their home, run right to the shower to shower and wash everything off their body, bag up their clothes, make sure that they're washed, and so these were the essential workers, and we counted on them. These are and we put the post on social media, and we're clapping for them, and yay, 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 awesome, awesome, you guys are the greatest. It's only several months later, guys, and we are telling them you don't have a job anymore. If you don't get this vaccine, you cannot work here anymore. It just seems off. And I'm not saying I have the answers for it. I'm not saying that I know exactly what should be done, but it just seems off to me, man. It seems off that we are at this point where, um, we're kicking people out of their jobs. I know it's not an easy subject, and I know it's not an easy fix, but it just does not sit really well with me. And again, I am vaccinated, and I think people should be vaccinated, but there's more to it than just my thoughts about the vaccine. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Randy.
but what you're saying is totally 100% correct. But as a healthcare worker, I was surprised at so many that didn't want to take the shot,
Okay.
especially seeing what all you were seeing. I mean, you
Right.
seeing death on top of death.
Right.
You seeing people go in, and then next thing you know, people are not coming out. But then I find out all these healthcare workers still refusing to take the shot. I mean, listen, they have a right. I mean, but it's like I'm saying, I just like to know why. Is it just because it's a new vaccine? Because kids can't go to school if they take the flu shot,
That's true. Absolutely.
and you pack up your kids and put them in the car or whatever and take them to get the shot. I mean, I don't take the flu shot ever
Me
since they said that they shoot the flu in you.
Right.
And the last time, a couple of times that I had caught the flu, is because I took the shot. So in my mind, you gave me the flu.
Right. Right.
But now kids can't go to school because of the shot. And they got to take the flu shot. Listen, man. To me, everything comes down to one thing: money. and you hate to think that way, but that could be the root of it
I listen. I think that's
because
basically the root of most things, man.
because of money, and what they getting from it. They might not. Some people, if you don't have medical coverage, it costs you $100 to get this shot.
Right, right.
They ain't giving it to you no more free, so it costs you some money.
Hmm.
And so, like I said, I don't know. It's just the mindset of sometimes people, the way they just think. I just don't want it. But look, the bottom line, anti-vax or whatever the case is, you don't want to get it. You don't. It's but the goal, like Alan said, they go out there and they. To me, it's because of more of a life and death situation that
Uh-huh.
they're trying to cure this thing, and then you won't get the vaccine, and then you won't put on a mask.
Right,
You
right.
know what I'm saying?
Yep,
So,
yep. So this is my
so
thing.
he's saying that they don't shoot the fruit.
Yeah, that's what Tim said, and he's laughing at you. Tim, thanks for your comments, bro. Thanks for hanging with us, man. So this is my thing. Two things. So, like you said, you'll have to pay for the vaccine. Now, if there are no mandates and they're still giving out the shot, and then you have to pay for the shot, and it costs you $100, there's going to be a whole nother protest about the government is not. They're trying to keep us from getting the vaccine because we don't make enough money to pay $100 for a shot. So then there'll be protests in the streets about that, even though they've had plenty of time to get it for free. Like you said, people will protest anything. They will protest anything, absolutely. And this is the bottom line. It's their right. It's their right to protest whatever they want to protest. It is their right. Absolutely. Um, that's my thing. Now, the second thing was, I think it was, I was talking with Erica and we were talking about the numbers, how many people have received it, and then how many people are refusing to get it. And I know the narrative when we first sort of started this whole conversation, the narrative was, um, most black and brown people are going to be hesitant, especially African American. They're going to be hesitant to getting the vaccine because of the history in this country. Very true. But with the numbers that we're seeing of the people that are refusing to get it, it's more than just black people that are refusing to get this vaccine. There's a lot of people that are refusing to get the vaccine and are willing to walk away from jobs and income and the thing that sustains their homes. They're willing to walk away from it because of their conviction. Their reasoning may not be something that's satisfactory to me or makes sense to me, but it doesn't matter because it's not me. I got my reasoning for taking it, and that's their reasons. But there's a lot of people beyond the black and brown community that is refusing. Ernesto.
I'm so glad you said that because I think that it's a bigger issue
Right.
throughout the country. I think because the trend is there is lack of trust in the government.
Right.
There's a
Right.
lack of trust in institutions. So, it's one thing when you see brown and black people saying, "Oh no, I'm not taking it,"
Hmm.
because for historical
Right.
reasons, right? Obviously. But when you see Brittany and all of them like really having and I use Brittany because I think that's the is that the term? No, no, what's the term?
Karen.
Karen. Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. And they're having an issue with it.
Right.
Now you're seeing now like they don't trust government, right? The
Right.
conspiracy theories of the rigged election and all this other stuff. I think that all goes under the umbrella, and I think it's to say that there's an issue. I think with the unraveling of society in America, because one of the things that in America that with all its dysfunction, people really did believe in the government,
Right.
right? You want to fight for Uncle Sam. You want to do X, Y, and Z. But now when you see the people who seem to benefit most from the government, at least from a minority's perspective,
Right. Yep.
and they're like, mm-mm, mm-mm. Now I'm like, wow.
Yeah. 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 It makes you look at it differently. It really does. It makes you look at the whole situation differently. And you're right. I think there's a growing distrust for the government that goes beyond, their history of healthcare with black and brown people.
But
Right.
this is the thing, Thirst,
Uh-huh.
that kind of like make you think, because when they decided to roll this thing out, they wanted to roll it out into the black and brown community.
Uh-huh.
So all of a sudden, and that's why everybody's like, "I'm not taking this. This is like you ain't been using me for no guinea pig."
Right. Right. Right.
Because you wasn't rolling it out, and you have more whites now have to come into the black and brown
Black and brown
communities
communities to get it. Right.
the
Yep.
shots.
Yep.
So this is what the thing that got everybody like, nah, man, I'm not taking now. Now all of a sudden it's something new, and
Right.
now all of a sudden you want to put it out in our communities that you want to give it to us first. Don't give it to us first. We don't want it. And that's where I think the mistrust for us, because any other time, they're always saying that we want to make sure we get it to the people of color, and we're going to make sure of them. And then they was trying to get other people of color to take the shot, and half them taking the shot, and
Co-sign it. Yep. Co-sign so other black people will do it.
try to get more people comfortable.
Right.
And now you want to put it in our
It was
neighborhood.
always house Negroes, right?
Yep. That's what they basically called Chris Rock when he told people to get it. Yep. You shucking and jiving for the man. You better go ahead and get that shot, dude. For real. Yeah. That's how it is, man. That is the society that we live in. Hello, Louisa, and hello, Nicole. So great to see you, ladies. Thank you guys.
Yes.
Y'all see and hear what we're talking about today. Vaccine and anti-vax, and the mistrust of the government, but also the issues with people sort of losing their jobs or losing their livelihood for not wanting to get the vaccine. So we're just trying to get people's thoughts. What do you guys think, and how do you feel about it? Listen, I think, when the school year started, in my mind, I was thinking they're probably going to have to shut this thing down soon. Like, I know they're opening the schools to everybody and they want everybody in, and there's no virtual learning. In my mind, privately, I was thinking, I don't think this thing is over enough yet. And the fact that, children under 12 were not, and I don't think they're even yet able to get the vaccine, right? You can't get the vaccine if you're younger than 12, correct?
Well, they're working on it. And I was talking with Ray Shell.
By Halloween.
Really?
Yeah, well, that's the most optimistic one. But then the person who said that, the doctor who said that, he was on the board of Pfizer. So, but they're talking about they want to do it before the winter starts, that they think it may get approved, at least for Pfizer.
Okay.
And then they asked Governor Hochul, would they mandate kids, even in elementary school, to do it? So she said that no, as far as young children.
Right.
But the way how she said it was like, I felt like it was like, well, I'm saying no for now,
but I'm going to change my mind later.
Yeah, leave that open,
That's going to be a major problem, bro. If they mandate for young kids, you think you're seeing people protesting now? The people going to be right. Well, I won't say people are going to be rioting in the streets. That's just a term. But people are not going to be happy about that, man. Then they don't want you to tell them what to do. They definitely don't want you to tell them what to do with their kids.
First of all, they have a bigger problem.
High school, and there's a lot of parents. We do have a lot of kids who are vaccinated.
Uh-huh.
But that's because they play sports. It's mandated
Right, for
for the
sports.
sports to get
Right.
vaccinated for PSAL.
Wow.
But yeah, I talk to a lot of parents every day, man. They're like, not my kid.
Yeah, man. Absolutely not. Go ahead, Randy.
Yeah, I was talking with Rachel and we was talking about it because I was asking her. I said, "So you think they will close the school down again?" She said, "They ain't gonna do that." She said,
Really?
"She said
She's
they're
right.
not going to do that." She said, "Their thing is," she said, "because they got a bigger problem."
Hmm.
She said, "Because teachers are leaving like crazy."
Really?
Yeah, people like
Teachers are walking away from
they just
jobs.
walking away, and it's not so much because of the vaccine. They just get sick and tired of the foolishness that's going on, and they don't feel. And principals are feeling like they're not getting any help.
They're not
They're
supported.
So,
not.
so,
Right.
so, so,
Not.
so, so she said she got a call from her union
Wow.
because she put complaints in because can't get teachers. And she said that it kills her and pains her because she's looking at all these young black and brown kids. And what he said, it's a shame what they're doing to them. And she said, reach out to your supervisor. But the supervisors is saying, yeah, we know we do this, and they'll send somebody there maybe like for 2 weeks, and then they move them out. She said, so she said, so she has that problem, but what they want you to do is leave it in the principal hands to figure it out.
What? How do you figure it out if there's not
Yeah.
enough people?
No,
Because
she's right.
because you got to get teachers in. You got to still teach the kids.
But if you don't have enough teachers, like,
Then you're gonna work it out. I was talking to one lady.
wow.
And she said that her son said to her, he had just started middle school. She said, "Mom, why do I need to go to school?"
Mm,
He said, "I sit at my desk and I do everything from my computer. I can do everything at home."
wow.
She said that I'm doing the same thing in school that I was doing at home. So why can't I stay home?
Man.
And because teachers, they say that, and I was just reading an article that down in Florida, they like leaving like crazy. Like, and they can't get teachers, and they got nothing to do. It's just the economy. It got nothing to do with the vaccine. People are just like, listen, you know what? I'm retiring. I'm taking my Rachel constantly keeps saying she's like maybe she's I'm looking for maybe if I could find something else to do.
Wow.
Now
Wow.
she really have 3 years. She keep putting up two fingers, but she's like, maybe I could find something else to do. She said because of the foolishness that what is going on in the school system, and nobody cares. And you
Thurston,
can't
they
get
weren't
teachers in there.
ready.
What you say, Ernesto?
They weren't ready. The,
Right.
they
Right.
weren't ready. They were not ready. They made a move. They made, they really didn't think it through. I think it was like kind of like, okay, a lot of people like Randy's Dove and all those other administrators, and I would say teachers and all that, they really do know how to make lemon out of lemonade.
Right. Right.
I mean lemonade out of lemons. And they've always done it, and they've always done a great job. And so now I think that leadership was just like, here, now fix this.
Yeah.
But they've
They'll work
reached
it
their
out.
limit. They've
Ugh.
reached their limit, because the thing is that, you know, um, Jan's a pre-K for all social worker,
Okay. Okay.
and they had her colleagues in the classroom, and not with their age group that they're trained to work with. They were in the classroom with in high school classes because they got assigned a district. So that's the kind of situation that we're talking about. They just didn't think it through.
True.
They
Right.
really didn't. And you know why? Because if and this is why they didn't, I believe the reason why they didn't was because politically they couldn't. Because if you thought it through, they couldn't have opened up when they opened up.
Wow.
And just to give you a flip side, kids' grades, kids were failing. Kids were failing.
At a
Kids were
rapid race.
kids,
Man.
yeah. Kids were, especially the young ones. They were that social interaction.
And,
Right.
Yeah.
and pass them through. Pass them through anyway. Even though they failed.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is
Pass 'em.
social development was delayed because that was so important.
Right. Right.
You know,
Right.
so all of those things were going, and the pressure to open up was real. I mean, look, I don't, like you said, Thurston, there are no easy answers. But middle management, those administrators, like, it's
They have to do it.
fair.
So
Like, literally, my principal, his back gave out. I think I shared that before.
Man.
Because he was moving furniture in his office because he was so desperate to get back, because there's a mounting work that needs to be done. People are getting burnt out.
So it goes beyond teachers in the classroom. This is affecting facilities, workers, people that have to
everybody.
get the schools ready. I haven't heard much talk about how much schools are being cleaned. There was the perception that it was a regularly scheduled deep cleaning of schools. I haven't heard anything about that, so I don't even know if it's happening now.
Well, I know that for Rachel said that she had a thing. You gotta understand my wife, where she worked. So because she feels she don't have the support, Rachel writes everything, emails.
Okay.
She keeps a paper trail,
Right.
everything. So the head custodian tells her, could the teachers be out of the school by a certain time? Because I'm sending this custodian there who unvaccinated.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Right. So Rachel's right away. Well, according to the DOE, this, he has to be this, he has to be that. But he's going to try to dig his heels in. Rachel escalates it. According to the CDC, this is this, whatever, boom, 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 she escalates. They get a call back, boom, knocks it down. So he had to send somebody else. They really don't like her because of simple fact, she's on point.
And put it in writing.
So they had to send somebody there, make sure the teacher's out that was vaccinated. A custodian. Right. Now, this is the other thing I want to say. You remember when they was talking about having the buyout for the teachers and the city workers? The reason why they shut that down, because they know they couldn't open that school up because they would have had a flux of teachers exiting out.
It would have been like Egypt.
Exactly. Yeah, people would be out, man. They're not going to have.
They were looking to get out of here, and that's the reason why they didn't give it, because they know that if they would have done that, they would not have been able to open the schools up in September, because you would have more teachers like taking the buyout and running.
Think it through.
Wow.
Think it through.
So Louisa, we actually touched on this earlier. I'm gonna read your question. It says, what I have a problem understanding is why the healthcare workers are fighting taking the vaccine, especially after all the deaths from the virus that they saw last year and everything that happened. And Randy said the same thing. Like, so we touched on this earlier, and my and I didn't get a chance to say this earlier, but I'll say this. Think about it. They were in the midst at the height, and they kept themselves safe. They did all they needed to do to remain safe, to not catch it, to not die. And, maybe they feel like now, okay, it's not as bad as it was, and I was safe then. So why am I forced to take this vaccine now when I know how to keep myself safe? Even though I didn't want to, I still went out. I saved people's lives. I saw people dying, but I was able to keep myself safe because I washed my hands, because I wore the right equipment, and all of this stuff. So yes, some of them did, but a lot of them did not. And they're still here, and they're still working in the field. And I'm responding to Luisa's. For those of you who don't know, I'm responding to Luisa's question. No, I know you had missed it earlier, Luisa. So yeah, we had touched on that earlier about the healthcare workers, because my thought was, how do we feel about them losing their jobs now that they don't want to get the vaccine, but we really applauded them when we were at the height. And again, I was blessed to be able to work virtually, to work from home, to still do my job. So listen, I was blessed. I can't imagine if I were a healthcare worker that had to go into the hospitals, or even I have some people that I know that worked at senior housing complexes, and they said the amount of deaths that they saw in those facilities was unbelievable. Every day, multiple ambulances just taking bodies away. I can't imagine if I had to endure that, what I would be thinking now, how I would be feeling about this whole thing. So I wanted to touch base on that. And then Brian was listening to us on my regular Facebook page. So Brian, if you want to share your question and have me show it on screen, just pop over to the LOL Radio TV Facebook page. It's the same live stream. And if you leave a comment there, I can show it on screen. But he said, question, what are your thoughts on same thing. What are your thoughts on first responders, nurses, doctors, etc., who were on the front line during the pandemic, now being forced to get the vaccine? And that's what we were covering, Brian. So I would love for you to join. And by the way, guys, Brian's back on U.S. soil, so we need to set some time to get some pictures done, so we could promote this Brothers Like Us show for real, for real. So y'all get yourselves ready, get shaved up real nice. I'll get a makeup artist. If y'all need makeup, man, I'll get somebody to do makeup for you too, man. Just
saying
let me
I'm
know.
ugly, Thurston.
I'm just saying, bro. I'm just saying, man. A little touch up here and there, though. It won't hurt. It won't hurt
I
none
need
of
a
it.
lot of touch up. It's all good. I get it.
Look at Alan's face. He's like, what? Makeup, huh? Alan, you've never worn makeup before?
No, I never either.
You've
Me
never
neither.
worn makeup. You've never worn
No.
makeup, Randy? Oh man. So is that just because you feel you don't need it, or would you feel, let me ask you this, would you feel funny wearing makeup?
I think that you're the only one out of all of us that wear makeup because you're on the choir.
No, I don't wear it regularly. I'm just saying, if I'm doing a photo shoot, I don't wake up in the morning and have to do my makeup before I go to work.
I always told people I didn't want to put makeup on my head because it'll dull the anointing. So I like to have that. I like to have the oil shining, and if you put the makeup on it, it'll dull the anointing. So don't put no makeup on me.
Y'all crazy, man. Y'all are crazy, dude. Yeah. So Brian, thanks for checking us out today, man.
I just never been in media or anything like that. Like, oh wait, let me see. They did put they brushed my face.
So they put some foundation on you.
Whoa.
Yes, but it was
powder, brother.
Like,
Whoa.
No. Like when I see women put on foundation, it's like
right.
Like that. No, they did the, that was it. I guess because
the shine.
Like the shine, yeah.
No foundation.
No, you know what?
I guess, yeah.
Don't touch my shine. Don't touch my shine.
I think one time I was on TV and they put some powder or foundation, whatever you want to call it, on my face. But it's I've worked in studios before, so the glare can really mess up the lens because the lens doesn't see like our lenses do.
Right.
But before we jump into another subject, I did have something to say.
Okay, cool.
And this is sort of a little bit off topic. Marie Toms, or
Uh-huh.
Lucid Toms reached out to me. She was on the show about a month ago from community to community talking about Haiti. And she basically says that she has an update that there's something called Firestarter. It was actually, if you go to marketwatch.com, it's something that is sort of a new movement pushing things forward. There's actually a video of a black couple talking about trying to retire early, and that's one of the fire starters. But they have fire starters for different things. But C to C, community to community, is a finalist in an investor tank competition, similar to Shark Tank, to win $150,000. Because what they're trying to do is they're trying to open up a health and wellness center in a rural community in Haiti. And it's not a hospital, it's not a mobile clinic, it's a health and wellness center that helps Haitian residents make better health choices to get out in front of high blood pressure, diabetes, and other preventable health challenges. So she's asking that you go to the website investortank.org/vote, and I will put that up. And voting starts by October 20th and runs through Sunday. But
So it's only a week of. It's like a week
yeah,
of.
it's not even a week.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, but this would really help her out. And she's trying to, we've talked on a lot of things here. She's trying to help out the people of Haiti get back on their feet and everything. And this would really help the organization out to possibly get the $150. I will
Please
put
so
the Facebook.
post the link so I can post it here. And listen, I wish I had known earlier. I would have had her come on and do a full pitch. But beyond that, we have a huge community, man. I mean, she's connected to a huge community, and if all of us were to share it 1 or 2 days during that week, we should be able to get a significant number of people to go on and vote. I mean, CCC family is deep, man, and we're large and we're worldwide. So I think it's important. So if she's willing to share it, I'm definitely willing to repost and share as many times as I can to get the word out. And
Yeah, I will send you guys.
There's a lot of I have a lot of colleagues of Haitian descent that I know would appreciate an initiative like this.
Right. I will send you guys the email, and we'll post the link right now.
Awesome. Excellent.
There we go.
Beautiful. Let me make sure. investortank.org/vote. Excellent. Yeah, I love it. I love it. And you said it starts on the 20th. So, okay, it starts this Wednesday and it goes through Sunday. All right, let's get the word out, man. Let's do it. Let's do it. That sounds good.
If you can post it on your site, social media, spread the word, that would help a lot of people. You don't have to give money. It's a simple click. Support an organization that's supporting people out in the world. So be not of the world, be not in the world, but help the world. I'll do the Alan Joseph Message version. 2021,
DMV.
Oh man. So no, I appreciate that, man. We're definitely going to support as much as possible. I will definitely share it. You'll see me share it later today. So is there any type of flyer, anything like that, or something, some type of graphic to post? Or maybe I'll just find something on the site that
I will see if I can get something from her. I'll ping her
That's
now,
great.
but I'll see if I can get something from her, and I'll shoot you guys the email right now.
Yeah, because people don't read a lot. I mean, they want to see a picture and
Yeah.
see something they can click, and they'll support you. But
Right.
they'll support you. But I'm not going to read 3 paragraphs. That's just how people think. Like it's like quick. So if there's some type of graphic we can get to repost, I think it would be helpful. Definitely.
All right.
All right. Cool. All right. Listen, we're gonna get out here on time today. So wait, Randy, you wanted to say something about cancel culture. I don't want to leave without talking about that. Go ahead.
Well, it's not so much I wanted to say. I mean, if he was going to talk about it,
No, I want to talk about it. We got another 10, 15 minutes.
Listen.
Let's talk.
I was talking with Pastor Darren because after the show, we talked on Monday or Tuesday, and we were just talking about this whole cancel culture thing because I really want to try to get an understanding of it. And so I just started thinking about it. And I told him, I said that I think the whole thing started many years ago because I think Minister Reggie had put up a post about, when it started and he had shot down a couple of bullets and stuff like that. And so, because last week I had told you that I believe that it was about canceling God, and that started the whole thing. But it started in small increments, little things here and there. So my mind went back all the way to when the children of Israel said to him, "We don't want you to be the God over us. We want to have a king like everybody else." So it's like canceling you out. We want to have a king. And so I thought about it because even though God granted what they wanted, his hand was still in the midst. He was very still in the midst because even though he granted it, he told the prophet Samuel to go to Jesse's house and anoint his son king. And then I had told you, I said that because to me it started with that. That's when it first started. Then when they canceled school, canceled prayer out of school, they took an X and put it in front of Christ's name. Instead of Christmas, they called it Xmas. When we got into this age and now they telling us, look, we no longer want to be known, God, what you say we are, male and female. Identify as he and she. We want to be what we want to be. I want to be a them, a they, or whatever. And so it's like we saying, listen, we rejecting your righteousness, we rejecting your moral standards, we rejecting all the things that you have placed in the earth to help guide us. We want to now do our own thing. And God just basically just allowed them to do it. So to me, the whole cancel culture thing has now come to a point where I could do whatever I want to do. I can be whatever I want to be. And I don't want you to tell me what I can't be or what I cannot be, because it's like I want to be my own person, my own God. And if, like Vaughn was saying, some of the things that he saw, if I like you, I'm with you. If I don't like what you stand for, I'm against you. Or if you say something wrong, I'll cut you out. And this is where we come. But where it all started is because we have rejected the things of God. But the thing about it is, God is always still in the midst, because even though we always say that God has given us the right to choose, it doesn't mean that you're not going to be that there's not consequences that's going to come.
Right.
There's still consequences, because for me, the scriptures tell us he's the same today, yesterday, and forever. So he doesn't change. He doesn't waver. he doesn't get caught up into all little things, even though society might have put it into a rule or put a stamp on it or stuff like this. But at the same time, God is still very much in it, because you still, regardless, going to have to pay or answer for the decisions that you make. And just because you say that, yeah, he gave me this right, the right to choose, he also said, look, I put before you life and death. He gave you the answer. Choose life. Right.
Mhm.
It's like you're saying, I'm going to give you wrong or right.
Choose right.
Choose right.
Hmm.
And everyone knows within us, there's a battle going on, between the spirit and the flesh. And so, and we learned that, you can't serve two masters. Either you're going to serve God or you're going to serve your flesh, because your flesh now becomes that desire, that God in you that draws you in, and you start to seek to please that. And you only can please one. So the more you give into it, that stronger it becomes. So my whole thinking for me with the cancel culture, when it started, was when they started to reject God's ways. Like he said in the book of Romans, when he was dealing with the whole thing about the homosexuality thing, he said, listen, they refuse to keep me in their mind, in their hearts. So I'm just going to give them up to their mind. I'm allowing them to do what they want to do. He didn't say that there's not a consequences that might come from that. This is just like when you tell your children, tell Jordan and Jaden, you and Erica, don't do this. But they decide that I'm going to go on and do it. But you never told them what the consequences is. Now when they come back, you find out, now they got to face the consequences.
Right.
But then now some people could know what the consequences are. I know for my daughter coming up, she knows what's going to come down the line. And she's like, you know what? Listen, I'll just take the beating.
Right.
I'll take my
Yep.
phone away, but I'm gonna go do me. I'm
What I
gonna
want to do.
have my fun, and I'll deal with it anyway. And that's what is happening. So a lot of times, people now, it's like at this point that they just want to do whatever they want to do. I don't want nobody ruling over me. I don't want nobody telling me what I cannot do or what I can do. I want to be my own person, my own individual, and this is where how we now into this thing. But it started to me a long time ago when we started to try to cancel out God, which you can't do, but you see the results
Yeah. Yes.
of when you start taking the prayer out of school and you start not having God in the schools, and you started seeing this thing over time. You started seeing all these things start having it, and this is what's going on with it for me.
Yeah, I get you. I listen. I totally get you. And there's so many ways we can go with this conversation, because again, I definitely believe that we say it all the time. God has given us free will. He's given us the ability to choose. And even when you talk about you bring in the scenario of children, like children going and choosing and doing the wrong thing, even though we tell them the right thing to do. Yes, they face consequences, but the love that they receive from us is just like the love that we receive from God. It never fails. The love never goes away. And I think, again, we go back to the way that we as a church have dealt with people that think differently than us, that live differently than us, the way that we've approached them, and not trying to better understand, not building relationship, um, so that they can understand us, we can understand them. I think that has hurt the church more and hurt
Well,
our positioning more than anything else. You know what I mean?
the church was of a different mindset,
Right.
back then.
Right. Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
so, and this is how they would think. Like I said, it was always about fire and brimstone. I remember being
Absolutely.
in the church, and we had service on 42nd Street and 8th Avenue,
Uh-huh.
and you used to always, and I'm talking about in the heart of the Lions Den.
Right. Right.
And
right.
you out there, and the choir and preachers and stuff like that. And even if it was not us, you always had somebody
There was
down
somebody
there.
there,
They had a big sign on their neck, repent, such is the kingdom. They've got the scriptures, and you're gonna wind up in hell, and you're gonna do this, and holding up the Bible. You go on the train, and somebody, you trying to sleep, and somebody all of a sudden comes on the train, and they start reading the Bible out loud, and they preaching up and down, and everything is about get your life together. Jesus is gonna come, and you're gonna burn in hell. So it was all that, and it was never really a loving, compassionate thing that was showing to people.
Right.
So
Never.
and so you kind of like scared them into Jesus. Even with me being in church, I had a minister that used to come to our church all the time, and we used to call him the angel of death, the preacher of death. Listen to what I'm telling you. If I tell you the name, I'm not going to tell you the name. But he used to call him the preacher of death.
Say the name.
He came. He would always begin to speak death. And the thing about it, the way he did it, he would like, it was, we'd be in high praise, and then all of a sudden he was like, be quiet. Death is in the room, right? And so now everybody like on edge, don't take me.
Jesus.
And so then, and this would be his segue. I need 50 people to get $50.
Randy, shut up. Shut your mouth, man. No way. Louisa says she remembers him.
I'm telling you. $50. That would be his segue. So now, all of a sudden, you see everybody scrambling. And then you would have people, grab your Bible, hold it to you, and all this kind of stuff. So they scared you
Right.
into this type of stuff. So, and this is how the mindset was. You didn't want to, you see them coming. You didn't want to be around him. You run the other way if you saw him coming your way because you thought he was going to say something to you. But this is the mindset of how the church was.
And they were operating off of what they were taught.
Right. So it took a while for us to now start to grow and mature. Listen, in slavery, they took the Bible and they misused it.
Right. Mm-hmm.
They even in slavery, they took the Bible, turned it around, used it. So this is what it was and how it is. Yeah, we learn now about being passionate, being loving, and even now, even the church still struggle with it.
Absolutely.
Let you mess up and see what happened to you.
Right.
Make a mistake and see. You don't find many brothers that's gonna come around and they want to like talk to you and stuff like that. Now they're gonna push you aside. But that's the immaturity,
right,
of how things are, because we teach one thing, but we do another.
Yep.
And so
totally different. Live something totally different. And yeah, that's been an issue for a long time, and something that really truly needs. And I believe it's happening. I believe there's a change. There's a shift. We just seem to shift rather slowly. When listen, it just seems to be that's how change happens in our society, very slowly. Even though we know what's right, we know what should be done, or I should say, most of us know what's right. Most of us know what should be done. it takes time to change. Is something I say in therapy all the time. These things are not like a light switch. You can't just turn on the switch and then it's totally changed and everybody's acting a different way. When something's been ingrained in you from a child, and this is all you've known, this is how you've lived, this is how you have worshiped, this is your worship experience, that doesn't change. For me, there's always been something in me, and I thank God for this, that even though I was raised a certain way, there was always something that didn't sit right with me with some of those ridiculous things, right? It just didn't sit right with me. And I could see everybody around me sort of like giving into it and taking part in it. But something in me was like, nah. And at that age, I didn't have the language to be like, that's not of God, right? And I'm not gonna go up to a pastor in a service and say that's not of God. But something in me sitting in those pews was telling me, nah, that's not me. That's not me. That $100 and $1,000 line um and I'm gonna stop there because I don't want to say anything to offend anyone, but I'm just saying.
Okay, so let me say it. Let me say it. No, I'm kidding. No, you know what? Listen, ministry is kind of funny because if Reggie was here, I've ministered with Reggie in Step for years, and I've been part of different ministries. Just quickly background, I was raised in the Catholic Church, um, but my good friends, 3 houses down the block, were Seventh-day Adventists. So I learned early on that it wasn't what denomination you belong to, but that you believe in Christ, because we had similar stories, similar histories from the Bible, so to speak, similar lessons we are being taught. They, wanted to focus more on the law and the seventh day. And, within Catholicism and many other denominations, we believe we're saved by grace. So whether I worship on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Monday, I'm saved by grace. But I say all this to say that the conservative in me, because I was raised Catholic, can really understand what the Catholic Church is trying to do with different sections of the service. They say the confession of faith. That's, making everyone say, we believe in one God, the Father, the Almighty, maker of, God from God, life from life, true God from true God, begotten one Son, etc. Right. So, and that's their confession of faith, because if you confess it with your mouth, they can't deal with what you're feeling in your heart. But if you confess it in your mouth, we as a church, we did our job.
Right.
So, going to these different churches, and I left the Catholic Church and went to school in Michigan, went to the Winans Church, went to Baptist churches, Episcopalian. I was like, you believe in Jesus? Okay, I need a ride because I don't have a ride. And the Catholic Church on campus was literally singing Kumbaya with ukuleles. And I was like, nah. I come from a Black Catholic church. We're still conservative, but we ain't like that.
It's a little different.
Right. So I was like, as long as you believe in Jesus, I'm going to your church. So grew up on, really, I can say many different religions. Many different denominations of Christianity, not different religions.
Right.
So I came to understand, what I believe the Bible says and what God is and who God truly is. And, God took me through a refining process and everything. So when I started ministering and I started seeing that, we would go to different churches. We went to this one church It's in Brooklyn, in Bed-Stuy. I'm not going to name the church,
Mhm.
but I'll tell you that much. Um, we were ministering there, really small church on a major street. We walk in there, and I'm like, "Oh, outside, it's looking nice. It's sandwiched in between these two buildings." But I'm like, "Oh, okay." Walk in, floorboards are creaking,
Mm.
and when I mean creaking, not like they've had a lot of congregants, but like, nah, these floorboards 100 years old. It's been time to change them 70 years ago. It's
They're about to fall in.
yeah. The benches that we were sitting on, wooden benches. This might have been a Catholic church. Some of them had holes. You were sitting a little like this, praising God. You know, and we were there. And one of the things that Reggie always said was, when we went to a church to minister, we wouldn't just like we do it at service. We wouldn't just minister and leave. No, we have to be there before the service starts and
Mhm.
stay until after the service. So, offering came. Me, I'm like, Shh, I have a rule. Every church that I go to, that's a definite week that I tithe. If I
Mm.
get if I get paid every 2 weeks, I will save my tithe and tithe to that church, whatever the amount is.
Okay.
That's my rule, because I'm giving into God's kingdom. So, the bulk, just don't want to do a $20 offering or a $5 offering.
Right.
So, what they did was, they play the organ, and I'm not really with all the da 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 da. I'm just telling you, I'm not with that. I don't see cadence in the Bible, so I'm not necessarily with that either. That's a different conversation. I'm trying to keep
Oh
it
Lord
straight,
have mercy.
right? I'm just telling you, right? So they had the offering plate. You had to walk up and put it in there. Now I
Oh
know
yeah,
some
that's a
churches
regular. That's a regular,
old school,
dude.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, old school Southern. We ain't coming around. No, you bringing it up. This, that, the other. So I'm like, okay, praise God, no problem with that. Give, 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 give. Right now, what's funny is when we came up and gave, they pulled ours out and they started reading. Oh, Mr. Allen Joseph gave this. He he's just visiting. Y'all need to come up. Y'all ain't gonna
Wow.
shame me. Y'all this that. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
So this is the thing. I know Randy has experienced that. Ernesto, have you experienced that in your church experience?
Like Alan, it was when I was on the step team. I
I
had
think you
we
might have
had
been there.
no, I wasn't in that one.
Okay.
There was another one where we were in the church and they did offering. We had just ministered afterwards, and um, long story short, the minister was like, "Y'all ain't give enough." So he told one of the elders to lock the door.
Randy, is this bringing back memories for you, bro?
And I remember going to one of the other brothers because we were sitting down, and all of us was like, we didn't have to say anything to one another, but we all were like, nah, we leaving.
Yeah, exactly.
like we step as ministry and we gonna step out, But um, you know, two things. I had two thoughts. One was that um we as a people, I guess we could do better as far as Christians to give, because that's not necessarily in the culture. We give a lot of things to God, but we just don't give that. And I know a lot of people don't have,
Right.
especially in the neighborhood that we were in,
Mm-hmm.
But also working in the hood, I also know that people get what they won't get. I
Mm-hmm.
know that too. But the second thing was, that and even more so was that we shouldn't, as a minister, you shouldn't have to manipulate and try all these things, to get in, and to get your people what you want. Like, you're manipulating the people, and that's not cool. And I'm preaching to the choir when I say all of this. So
Right.
yeah, that was my only experience. Like Alan, I was Catholic.
Okay.
So yeah, so the only cadence I know is "Let us proclaim the mystery of
Mystery
faith."
of faith. And you had to say it at that note.
Oh man, it's right. It's
Yeah.
right.
Wow.
Right.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
totally different experience. For me, I know for Randy. I mean, we all came up with a different experience, and I know that those experiences have affected even the way that I approach giving, tithing. Um, I know that it has. Um, I'll tell you this: CCC altered my perception of church and service in so many ways. Just the way that Pastor designed service, so much of it just blew me away. How much we were able to fit in a short period of time. So we weren't in church all day long and all night. Um, the Again, the way that offering was taken, so there wasn't the walking, but it was the passing of the baskets, and whatever we got, and you take the money and they go count and do. And so I know that it has affected me, but CCC really liberated me from a lot of the strongholds that were in my life that I came up with. Absolutely.
Yeah, without a doubt. Same thing with me, but see, the different with my former church, you know, the pastor was a giver. I mean, he giver. He was a giver. He was a man of faith, and you know, you knew God's favor was upon his life.
Right.
I mean, without a doubt. I mean, this and so because of the way that he does things, so many churches would invite him. Like we had to go to the temple every Mother's Day
Mm.
at Washington Temple every Mother's Day, which I hated going to every I hated going. But we went, and they made sure that they put him on the books every year because they know that they was going to get a good offering. So he was the type of guy that if you had a church, a storefront church, he would show up with 5 charter buses,
Mm.
about 6 vans full of cars, and you only one that could fit in there was him and maybe the choir, and then the choir couldn't stay in there; they had to go back outside. But he would show up just to encourage the leader
Right.
and pour a seed into that house. I remember Elder Pointer, when Elder Pointer had his church, Elder Pointer would tell you he invited him at a street meeting. And when we showed up, we showed up,
Wow.
and he left where he would take his offering that was for him, and pour it back into the ministry of that church, just so that he can raise a certain time of money to leave a seed blessing to that church. Now the thing was, you was always, we need this offering, we need an offering for this, you was need an offering for that. And so what happens when that happens, it puts a strain on the people.
Right. Right.
You
Mhm.
feel this pressure, you feel this strain on the people, and you feel constricted, you feel bound,
Mhm.
which goes against what God wants, because God doesn't want his people bound.
Right. Exactly.
He wants his people free financially. So, and so a lot of times, like you said, you grew up in Church of God in Christ, and people would give their rent money because of the pressure.
Right. Mm-hmm.
They would put pressure on you by saying, "I want 100 men to give $100."
Yeah. Yeah.
You know you don't have no $100, but you feel the pressure.
Because if every other man is standing up to give a
And
hundred, how am I just sitting there?
people look at you, and I know many times, even with preachers, I want every preacher to give $1,000. So they have more bounce checks
Exactly.
bouncing
Exactly.
out that door, but you gave that $1,000 because you felt the pressure. So coming to CLC to CCC, there was this relief, but I have already been delivered from that because I was like, you know what, forget this. I mean, you ain't gonna find. The Bible says tithes and offering. It ain't keep on saying a bunch of offerings. Where you got to get up early in the morning and go to the bodega store and take $10 and get a bunch of ones so you can every.
Lord have mercy.
So I was kind of like delivered before I got there, but it was a culture shock. It was kind of a shock.
Yeah.
Not culture, but it was a shock when you went in there and they gave
If
they,
you're not used to that,
they took one offering,
right. One off.
and then you see all that they was doing with that one offering.
Right. Right.
So that kind of like help you to understand finances,
Yep.
and how to manage money and stuff. So a lot of things that, like I said, you learn to regurgitate where you like spit up the bones, you stuff that
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Eat the meat, spit out the bones.
Right. So, as my learning of to praise and worship God, you wouldn't take that. I wouldn't give that up for nobody.
Right.
Because one thing the church did teach you, that teacher teach you, was about praising and worshiping God, teaching you what who he was, and what he does. So, there was a lot of good that I learned.
Oh, absolutely. Listen, I was not.
Where I come to understand God, where I come to learn God and how to get His attention.
Right. Right.
Understanding His word. That's where I learned, for me, that this is a personal walk as far as developing God. I'm not saying that you don't need people,
Right.
but you got to have that one-on-one relationship with God. And that's where I learned that. So I would never trade that in.
No, me either. Listen, I
I
talk about it a lot, but I would never ever change my upbringing. I would not change it for the world, man. I think
that was the foundation. That's the foundation.
Right.
Now coming to CLC was where God began to build
upon that foundation. Exactly.
So
yeah, I agree with you guys. Even though my upbringing is completely different, I fell in love with Christ in Catholic school.
Wow.
And
Same.
and I remember Sister Ann, and she'd say, "Don't you want to be a friend of Jesus?" And I'm like, "I want to be a friend of Jesus," you know. But I really got to love, and that's why, even though I do study and I love the discussion of doctrine and theology and stuff like that, at the end of the day, to be honest with you, I don't think it's a hill of beans, especially when it gets in the way of evangelizing.
Right.
And I put it away. I can have a discussion. I could tell you what the JWs think, and the scriptures of where the Seventh Day Adventists get their stuff from, and so on and so forth. Don't talk about Catholicism, even Eastern Orthodox. But at the end of the day, it really, like I said last time, if you ain't doing it in love, don't bother, right?
Right.
So
Exactly.
but that's my thing. But I think Nicole had asked earlier, which one do we use, with the fire and brimstone, or the relational? And my answer to that was both. I think there's a time and a season for everything. There are times when I've been on the train and I heard someone start preaching from the word, and it edified me. And I'm like, wow, I really need that. Back then I wasn't gonna say anything because I didn't want to look crazy like the crazy person over there, right? Quote unquote.
Yep. Yep.
But at the same time, you never know who you're reaching when you obey God. Like, you sometimes you just see what you just experience, like everyone looking at you funny, and you may even leave feeling bad. But God isn't going to reveal to you that woman who was quiet, who was staring down, was listening to every single word you was saying.
Right. Yes.
Like, you don't. That's why sometimes you just got to trust God, right? And just leave it all to Him. And that's the type of disciples that God is looking for. Because, like, I think Randy had said this, a few weeks ago, which is, God's not always going to give the reason.
Right.
He's not always going to give you a reason. He's going to give you an order, but he's not always going to give you a reason. And we're in a time today that we got to see it, even as believers, right? We got to see it. And I've been guilty of that in my own personal walk,
Right.
where God challenges me, and I'm just like, you know,
Right.
um, but I always felt fulfilled after I obeyed. you know but as far as the fire and brimstone, it does have a place, because sometimes the society is, as the kids back in the day say, they bugging out. Like, you kind
Right.
of like, no, child, you going to hell. Like, if you don't stop, you're gonna go to hell. I don't I you know and sometimes you just need, of course, the relational aspect of it, right? And that's important too. And the key is to pray for discernment, to hear, to know when you got to do what, and,
Right.
and and to obey that voice. Because
Right.
because after Catholicism, when I first got saved, God put me in a white Pentecostal church.
Mm.
Ironically enough, that environment where I met Dr. Anordio.
Wow. Wow.
we don't look like anybody who'd be in a predominantly white Pentecostal church. And the funny thing was that the individual who was mentoring um Dr. Anordio in his foundational years when he first got saved, it was a Jew who converted to Christianity.
Wow.
You can't make this stuff up.
Wow.
So everyone has, like, there's a reason why God placed Randy and where he was, and you, Thurston, when you was in Kojic, and all that, and then brought us all together
You brought
here
us all together.
at
Yep.
under this brilliant man of God, who's after his heart, who
Like-mindedness.
constantly needs to be prayed and intercede for, because where God is going to take him and his family is astronomical. And I
Right.
pray that we're all ready to assist in that ministry as much as possible,
Right.
because it is absolutely phenomenal, the vision of Christian Cultural Center. And I thank God that he does have the integrity, and he's willing to pay that price,
Right.
because there's a lot of things, people like, oh, Ernesto, don't you want to be a minister? And I'm like, I know a lot of ministers, as you know, because you all know all the ministers I know, most of them anyway, most of them, not all of them. And I'm like, I see what they go through in their personal lives. I see it. I'm good. Like, if
Yep.
like
Yep.
I
Yep.
hate to say it, because there's a cause for the anointing. But I would say this, and I'm not saying this because these are friends of mine, you know, and I say this when I have classes and stuff with people, because I see how these men and women live when on Monday through Saturday.
Right.
And there is a and I tell them, I says, pray for them, but rest assured that there's no funny stuff going on. You know what
Right.
I mean? Like,
Right.
there's no scandal like, oh my God,
Uh-huh.
no. And I see, and I personally see the struggle sometimes when they go up there and they talk about their testimonies, and they have their sermon, and sometimes I'm sitting in pews and I'm like, yeah, I remember that.
Right. 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 I remember that day.
I remember that, and matter
Yep.
of fact, I can go up there and add a couple of other things that you didn't say
Right.
that you went through, but God pulled you through it,
Right.
and stuff like that, and I'll just share one thing. One of the things that I don't know, I feel like let's just say it, but you know, um, I remember when Enodio had graduated from seminary, from Princeton Theological Seminary. And I remember, the church had said that he was CCC, as at the time CLC, was like, look, you know, we you're a son of the ministry, call us, because this is gonna be, something, right? Anyway, long story short, um, he graduated, and he didn't get that call. And because I mean, it's not only the call, it's also employment. Yeah, the church,
Absolutely. Right.
it's a
Yes.
hospital, it's a business, it's a
Yep.
part of employment. People don't understand that. And I remember he was just standing on God's word. It wasn't like, oh, I go here and stuff like that. Like, he seek God's word,
Mm.
and God gave him instruction. And 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 it blessed me, because I was like, so what you gonna do? Because I remember he told me, he says, I believe that God told me that that's where he wants me,
Mm.
but I also know that my first ministry is my family. And if I don't get a certain call by this time, my health insurance runs out, and I gotta take something else.
Right. Right.
I kid you not. Did you know that he got the phone call the day before the health insurance ran out?
Oh my goodness. Wow.
I mean, like, and I'm like, this is amazing, you know. And he was like, he had young children, he had a young wife, and he's supporting them,
Right.
and helping his mom out. So, you know, um, I say all of that just to say that someone needs encouragement out there, and that God is faithful.
Mm.
God is faithful, and sometimes it does look like everything is falling down, and sometimes He catches you before you fall, and sometimes you do fall, and then He picks you back up.
Right. Yes. Yes. Yes.
And I just want to encourage somebody, because we're just in a season where just people are just going through, man.
Yeah.
And you could ask, like, why, and sometimes we need to see heroes of the faith,
Right.
you
Right.
know
The beautiful thing
yeah,
for us, Ernesto, is just like you said, we have gotten to see it up close. Right.
yeah,
Not everybody gets to see that. Not everybody
no,
gets to see behind the curtain. And that's another thing about growing up in church. I got to see a lot, and there are a lot
and you're still
of,
saved,
and I'm
hallelujah.
still saved. And there have been a lot of men, ministers, men and women, that I've gotten to see up close.
Yeah,
And although I may not espouse with everything that was done and how it was done, I can the amount of people I've seen that lived out the faith, that spoke it and lived it out, is too many for me to number. Now, um, there's just he God has blessed me to see certain pastors, not all pastors, but certain pastors, certain ministers that truly lived out what they taught. And that was a blessing to me. It seems for me, in all honesty, it was upsetting for me to see those that did not live it out. Like I would see them on Sunday teaching one thing, and then in the middle of the week, you see them doing something crazy that's totally against what they taught. Those were the things that sort of stood out to me. But you know, as I reflect, there were many pastors that truly did live out what they taught. And one in particular is Bishop Frank White. I love this man. We came to the church at a really difficult time in my life, and him in particular, he embraced me. And you know, even though, like I said, that was a difficult time, so I was sort of like bouncing all around, and I was ready to go and live and do and whatever. But the thing for me, and Randy hears me talk about this all the time, I like consistency, right? I think I try to be consistent with people. I like people that are consistent with me. That's one thing that he always was. He always showed me love, always embraced me, even when I was coming to church sometime and then running out and doing whatever and not showing up for a while. Whenever he did see me, he embraced me. And just the stuff that I saw behind the scenes and how he, you know, really uh, interacted with our family, with my mom, as she opened up her church at a time when women were not pastoring churches. It's just, he made an impact on me. So as much as I talk about the things that I don't like, I have to take time to really speak on the individuals that really impacted me as a young man. And you know, I'm big on integrity, man. I'm big on men being men and having integrity and being men of their word and teaching one thing and living it. Not about
Consistency.
being perfect, not about
Yes.
being perfect, but being right. Exactly. Consistency is
Yeah.
huge.
I think
One
Thurston,
thing
that
that
I'm sorry, just real quick. I just want to say that, you know, in society in these days where, you know, there's so many scandals and stuff coming out of the church, I think it's important for us to do speak about those heroes and sheroes in our
Yes.
faith that
Right.
has been consistent and
Right.
has been doing it silently without being big and stuff like that, but
Right.
because it's important that we do, you know, say that. So thank you for sharing that, man.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Let
Absolutely.
me let me just say this really quick. You know, in all the denominations that we come from, whether it's Baptist, Kojic, Catholic, Lutheran, whatever, Pentecostal, you know, a lot of times people want to condemn the denomination. There are Christians all over the place.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you, Alex.
There
Right.
are those
Thank
are seeds planted in different areas, and that's what's brought us all here. I mean, literally, you know, I came from a Catholic church and I got involved doing being a basketball coach because I wanted involved in church in some way, shape, or form. My mom joined the choir. My father was reading from the gospel and stuff like that. And we all started serving at the same time. But I left that once I heard pastor's message once.
Mm.
I didn't. I went to the Winans Church. I went to different churches, and I got stuff there. But my journey, just really simple, was that people didn't want to give me rides anymore. So what I did was, listen, I went to a Jesuit school on my university campus. I went to a Jesuit school, and this is funny because this is how much of a Christian my father was. We're walking on campus, and here go these guys. Hey, would you like a Gideon Bible for your room?
Wow.
And I'm going to say, nah. He's like, yeah, of course. And he hands it to me, and we keep walking. He's like, you're going to put that in your room, and you're going to read from that.
Wow.
Now, this is a Catholic man, you know, and Catholics, right? I don't try to down religions and stuff like that, but they really don't read from their Bible,
Mm.
you know? So when I couldn't have any more rides, I remember what my father said. And my father said, read from your Bible. So I would get down, I would pray, get down on my hands and knees. First time really reading through the Bible myself. And okay, Catholics all know Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. First 4 books of the Bible. Okay, so that's what I'm going to read. I don't know nothing really else. And, that seed planted in me. And I'll leave by saying this, that, my family's from Haiti. Family wasn't, my mom's family was more of the richer side. My family's father was more of the poor side. And poor in Haiti, people in the United States don't know what poor is. There's no socialism in the West Indies. No unemployment. No food stamps. You work, you eat. That's the law. So my father was poor, and he used to do different things to supplement his income. Single family household. My grandmother, and I said, my grandmother died when my father was 19. He was in college. That was his money for the year. He took his money for the year, buried his mother
Mm.
so that she could have some sort of, respectful burial. And no real cousins, people didn't want to take him in, came here with $250 in his pocket. Where does he go? Brooklyn. Where do all West Indians go? Brooklyn, Flatbush Avenue, right? With clothes in his suitcase, and that was it. And I asked my father when we were driving up to Michigan one day, because that's where I went to university. I said, Pop, with everything that happened to you in life, people didn't want to accept you. They made fun of you. Your father didn't want to accept you. You were poor. Your mother died. This, that, the other. Why didn't you curse God?
Mm.
Because that's what most people do. They say there is no God, or I don't believe in God. Can't be a God. This stuff wouldn't happen to you. And this stuck with me and actually led me to become more devout, more into Christianity. My father said, because Alan, that's the only thing I knew that would never leave me in life. Everything else would leave, but God would never leave me.
Mm.
First one out of the door every Sunday going to church. My father, he's not here now, but
Mm.
whole family's believers. And that's what pushed me. My parents pushed me because of their belief to believe more. And that small green Gideon Bible, oh snap. This small Gideon Bible that I
Wow.
got in college, you know, was what I used to read. Okay, let me read today. Let's see what God has to say today. And, there are seeds planted everywhere. All you need to do is, like, Jesus says, have faith and believe.
Mm. That's beautiful. That's
This
beautiful.
is the first
I know.
Bible I got after I got saved in college.
Student Bible.
Yeah, that's what
Wow.
they gave me. Yeah.
That's what's up. So
For
go
me,
ahead,
real
Randy.
quick, real quick, my take on leadership. I've been through a lot of ups and downs in the church in my life, but I come to this one conclusion that they're all human
That's
and they're
right.
gonna make mistakes,
Huge.
That's right.
and
Preach.
you have to keep that in your psychic so that when we have a tendency to put our leaders on a pedestal,
Yep.
and then when they slip and fall because we put them on this pedestal, then our faith wavers or crashes because we have put so much into this leader. So I had to learn, and God taught me that they was human. And so I thank God because in my walk and being involved in certain things and being close, he protected me from seeing things, which blew my mind because I was right in the heart of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was not until after I left that he revealed what was going on. And I'm like saying, it blew my mind because you can be in the midst of stuff and God protect you from it, where it doesn't even come near you. You don't even know what's going on. And then afterwards, you're like, well, where was I?
Right. Right.
Well, you said this was going on. I was there at this time. Where
How
was
did
I?
I not see it? Right. Mm-hmm.
Because if he would allowed you, it could have affected you.
Mm, mm, mm.
It could have affected your faith in him, your faith in your walk, your development. So God will protect you. One thing, like I said, leaders we put up. And so when things happen, everything come crashing down because we look at these people as if they so perfect, and
Randy,
nobody's perfect.
No.
Randy, were you there or Thurston and because all you guys and Alan too, you guys are like ICB like OGs.
I'm
Like
not
you,
with.
not
Well,
you.
so
I'm an OG. I know Alan's an OG.
I came
I never came to
CLC.
ICB.
He was never a
Oh,
part of
okay.
ICB. Well, yeah, I've been ICB for a while, but I'm not an original. I mean,
Oh,
the
so
original was
He's an honorary.
everything,
he's an
right?
honorary.
Yeah,
Like
honorary.
one is honorary.
I got my
One is
honorary doctorate.
People
He
are
got an
shocked that
honorary
one's not a part of ICB.
Thurston
Um,
never jumped.
But so just to what Randy was saying, one time back in CLC, Pastor on a Saturday morning had a meeting with the men, right? And he said, and I remember just to Randy's point, he said, what he said, if you were driving home late from work and you're driving through a seedy part of town and you see me come out of a building that you knew had women of the night,
Mm,
he said, how many of you would continue to go to this church? Raise your hand. And every time he says raise your hand, it's always a setup. I never raise
it's
my
a
hand.
trick question,
I'm
man.
always like,
Don't do it.
I want to
Don't
see
do it.
who, yeah, don't do it. I told that to Minister Billy one day. He just totally messed that up.
Don't do it.
Yeah. So this guy raised his hand and he said, so Pastor called him and he said, so why would you come to this church? And he said, absolutely. He said, why? He said, because even though I know what you're doing, I still know that the principles that you teach are true, even though I know that you're not following it.
Mm.
Right. So Pastor said, well, that sounds really good. And I thank you. Alan knows. He says thank you. But he said, I'm going to tell you what would happen. He said, you will sit there Sunday after Sunday, hear me think and hear me preach and teach. And he said, in the back of your mind, you will know that I am not about what I teach. He
Mm.
says, and eventually you will resent me and you would leave the church. And he was talking about like private practice determines public performance and all this
Right.
other stuff, and who you are on the inside and that integrity of character, how important that is. But just to go to your point, Randy, I just wanted to give a little story just to put a little anecdote to the point you made. It's so
Yeah.
true.
No,
Yeah.
it's very true. And
Look what happened in New Birth. There was so many people had a crisis. You know how many people I know? It says, oh, my father, like especially the older guys that people been years trying to get their father to church because they
Right.
like
Yep.
the image and the teaching, And after he fell, they were like they
But
threw
you gotta
everything,
understand the
which is
warning.
wrong. But
But the warning did come to him.
oh yeah,
It came to him
absolutely.
way before it happened.
Way before.
Way before it happens.
Way
And that, like I said, that's always spoke vital to me. A former pastor told me, he said, look, whatever you are delivered from, he said, if you fall, you will go back to that thing and you will go back
Same
even
thing.
stronger
Even
Yep.
stronger. Right.
into it. He said, no
Yep.
matter what it is. And so, and I always like, I tell people, all the time, warning come before destruction and pride come before fall. And it's always going to happen. So when you think about the PTL club,
Yeah,
when you think about Jimmy Swagger,
yeah.
you see all the leaders and you see them on TV and they got a big following, there's always something. You know what I'm saying? Because hitting, you don't think it's gonna happen, you don't think you're gonna get caught and
Yep.
stuff like that. And God always give you time to get it right.
Resist or flee.
He always gonna give you time to get it right. And if you don't get it right,
Absolutely. Yeah.
then you will be exposed in embarrassment.
Yep.
He deals
Yep.
with
And
you
this is
privately
what
first.
happened.
And if not,
He always extend that mercy, that grace. I'm extending it to you. Warning. I'm warning you. You feel it. It's not just something that just happened overnight.
Right.
nope.
Right.
It's something that's wrestling.
By the time the
within you.
public sees it, by the time it's public, they've been dealing with it a long time prior to that.
Long time prior.
And so this is the thing, Nicole. I see your question. We cannot dive into it yet because these guys talk too much. We're on here for 2.5 hours now today. I'm trying to make our show shorter, but it gets longer and longer and longer. I love sitting here talking to you guys, man. I really, really do. But Nicole, that's a great question. So her question is, in your opinion, what's the difference between consistency and perfection? In other words, where is the line drawn between consistency and perfection? And we're not tackling that today, but I definitely want to come back to this question. And I think I would like to expand it, not just about church leaders, but in general. What do we consider about consistency and perfection, and what do we appreciate? I talk all the time about what I appreciate guys that are consistent. I appreciate guys that people, I should say. I appreciate people that are consistent. Even if I don't necessarily agree with everything that they say, I appreciate consistency. And consistency, well, I'm not even going to go into it. No.
I'm laughing because you know why? You remind me of preachers. They always say that God gave me this message, and I'm not going to talk on it right now. And then you wind up talking on it.
Exactly. I'm forcing myself to stop. That's it. That was your final words. We are at 6:32, 2 hours and 32 minutes. So listen, you guys know how much I love you. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for the great conversation today on the vax and anti-vax and the cancel culture. A little bit on Kyrie. I was hoping that Blagaiva would come on and speak with us because he had great comments and posts on Facebook this week. And I'm probably going to dive back into it today if he's still talking about it. But listen, I love you guys. Thank you guys for coming every week. Or everyone that joined us online, thank you guys. Please share the show. Share it on your pages. Share it with people. Let them know that we are here. It is just some brothers getting together to talk about anything and everything. I think we have a good perspective. We're respectful of everyone, not just the people on this platform, but respectful of everyone that and every subject that we talk about. And we want some more interaction. So if you get a chance, share it with somebody. Let them know that it's brothers. If you know other brothers like us, tell them to come and watch the show. We'll continue to come and bring great content. I think it's great content. I hope you agree. And I'm going to sign off now because we can go on and on. But until the next time, don't just endure life, but embrace it and live it out loud. God bless you all. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. Later, guys.
All right, brothers.
All right.
Later.
Later, man.